Welcome to the Hakurei Shrine. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, I don't know either. I'll explain that later, but first, hello, this is the first video on the channel, so I think an introduction is necessary here. We are Mame Production, an indie game studio of 3 making some fun passion projects. The 3 of us are the Artist Bean, the Designer Bean, since they were insistent on adding the to their title, and me, Engineer Bean. I don't need the. We'll be doing some live dev work and project announcements on this channel in the future. And of course, that brings us to this first project. We wanted to start off the channel with a game jam, and those of you who might not recognize from this background, this is the Hakurei Shrine from the famous Touhou series. The Touhou Game Jam is right around the corner, and the Designer Bean happens to be a Touhou fan, so we thought, why not? Now, I currently don't know anything about the Touhou series other than the name, so I will be trying out some Touhou games on stream before the start of the jam, just to get to know the franchise a little. Feel free to drop in on the streams if you're interested. And on October 23rd, at noon Pacific time, we'll be making a game of our own around the Touhou franchise within 3 days. Now, the 3 of us have already done some pre-production to prepare us for the jam, including writing a game design macro and a burn-down chart, but more about that later. The story of our game is simple, and mind you, I'm reading this off of what Designer Bean gave me since I currently don't know anything about Touhou. But misinformation still lingers in Gensokyo after resolving the Fossilized Wonders incident. Even worse, Chimata Tenkyu and the rest of the world have lost their colors. It is up to Marisa and Nina to clean up the new oddities and restore all 7 colors of the lunar rainbow. The player must go through 7 minigames to collect the 7 colors of the rainbow in order to restore color in Chimata Tenkyu. Alright, so now that we know the general story of the game, let's take a look at the game design macro. So for those of you who aren't familiar, a game design macro is a list of sequences that are going to be in the game. So you can think of it like a storyboard for a game, except it doesn't have to be linear. So on the top here, you can see we have some general stuff every game has: splash screen, title screen, pause screen, option screen, stuff like that. And below we have the actual game that is unique to our game. It's going to start off with an opening sequence that kind of sets the backdrop. It would just be a standard visual novel dialogue, and that will lead into an overworld map where it has a map of all the explorable locations. That's all the different mini games. And if you click on those mini games, you get to go into these mini games and play them. We have 7 different mini games listed here. If you want to know the details, you can read them, pause the video and read them. But 7 is a lot of mini games. I've told Designer Bean that, but also, we're gonna try. 7, I think, is gonna be essentially a full schedule. Right? We'll try to see if we can get that done in time, but it's gonna be fun to try. And worst case is we cut out 1 or 2 games. But as you can see here, after you list the sequences, we also list out all the different assets that we need for this sequence. And with that, we have created a burn down chart, which is essentially a list of tasks that we need to do and like the hour estimate that we expect to spend working on these. So by doing it like this, we are able to put them into sprints. We have here sprint 1 and 2, that is the main game portion. Those are the 7 mini games. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet mini games, stuff like that. Sprint 3 is listed as sprint 3, but in planning we expect to put sprint 3 kind of parallel to sprint 1 and 2. It just kind of is a thing that happens in the background. That's the overarching system with the title screen, the overworld, and save and load system, stuff like that. And finally, sprint 4 are the polish. Those are the things that are really, it should be necessary and is really good to have, but if we run out of time, we run out of time, right? And once we put them into sprints, they're in a list like this. We would be able to kind of check things off as we work. This is really useful because it gives us a straightforward representation of like, oh, this is how much task I have left. For example, like if I expect Red Minigame Framework to take an hour to make, and I basically accomplished half of that by noon at the start of the game jam, I can just put here then, oh, there's half of it left, and then it would update, and then you'll see, oh, there's half of it left. And by doing that, you kind of just check things off, and it's really satisfying when you gradually, remove all the things and realize, oh, I'm making progress. And so this is the burn down chart. This is a list of everything that we need to make. And the total hour for me comes down to 34 hours of development work over 3 days. So that's a 12-hour workday every single day during the jam. Probably higher because we also need time to debug and basically do some quality assurance testing. But it will be a fun jam. I think every jam has to be to some level frantic, and that kind of is the fun part, being in the in the mosh pit of development. So yeah, that's about it for showcasing our plans going into the game jam. And I will be streaming all of the development work, these 34 hours, on this channel when the game jam happens from the 23rd to the 26th. So if you're interested, if you want to know how game dev works, or if you want to see me fail horribly at following the deadlines, feel free to drop in the channel and see the live stream.